So we usually start from the beginning. So where are you originally from, man?
Yeah, so fuck, man. I'm from Mexico. I was born in Mexico. My mom's from Puebla. My dad's from Guerrero, Mexico. And I was there for about maybe 4 years. My mom was over here in LA. She came over here to LA, California to, grind. Everybody comes over here to for that American dream, and what was about maybe 4.5 years later, she went and got me, she brought me over here, so it kind of tripped me out because I was like, damn, I thought my grandparents were my mom and dad, because I called them mom and dad, but she was like, oh, and when she popped up in the picture, I was like about 4, going into about 5 years old, and she was like, oh, I'm your mom, and I'm like, fuck, you're not my mom, it's like, they're my parents, and they kind of explained to me, and well, what they did what they did, but she wanted her son back, and she already had, which is my brother. She already had, her son with. She wasn't with my dad, so she was with my. She married somebody else, when she came over here. Obviously, she left. I didn't know this till after, big dog. I didn't know that till after. So I'm still thinking, fuck, they're my parents, I didn't know that was my stepdad yet. So we came over here, whatever, and to Baldwin Park. She had a pad right there, and it was kind of like I would say like a kickback spot. Well, I don't want to say kickback spot, but it was like a pit stop, because it was about 7 families, and people used to come from Mexico, stop, make their hustle, and then some of them used to fucking go to New York, Chicago, and from what I hear, they were just there for a while. They get their little hustle, their little feria, and then to break whoever the fuck's gonna take them over there, and they were gone. So that pattern right there was a lot of movement, So I seen a lot of just movement there, It was just kind of like in and out shit, But like I said, I don't know who was the ringleader there, but I know that my mom was like kind of in charge there because she was like the oldest, and then my dad, which. They had my brother already, and so we grew up. I wouldn't say middle class because there's categories, big dog, and I would say that we were poor. I'm gonna say we were poor. Why? Will you say we had the the house. We were all in the fucking room, so we didn't have much. Meaning, fuck, we didn't celebrate no fucking birthdays. We didn't do no. Thanksgiving, what Americans do, we didn't do none of that shit, there was no 4th of July. I remember one year I asked, hey, could you buy us fireworks? And my mom looked at me like, you're dumb. I go, we don't got money for that. We don't do that, And I was like, okay, like everything that I asked kind of was like a no, because when I started going to school, which it was kindergarten, you start growing up and seeing all these kids, the way they dress, the way they are. So that in my pad, it wasn't like that, man. There was a lot of animosity. There was a lot of just drinking, kicking back, fucking too much commotion, So my upbringing was a little bit rough, My mom, she was going through a lot, and she used to be like just pissed all the time, frustrated, and for whatever reason, whatever she was going through with her relationship, it was like she always takes it out on me, I remember if my brother cries, she'll come and fucking smacks me, like what the fuck, he fell, like I didn't hit him, and few times she used to be like, oops, like, oh, sorry, my bad, but like I was always the one that to take that anger and frustration, And I didn't know. I didn't know what the fuck, like what did I do, But it was always like towards me, but like I didn't really know that what was the real reason behind it, So as life went by, like I said, I got a little older, maybe about 8 years old, and she finally told me, oh, you know what? Can you stop calling him dad because he's not your dad, And I was like, what the fuck, It tripped me out because how she came and told me. And I was like, I like I said, there was a lot of people at that house, and I think his brother had showed up from Mexico, and they were kicking it because they used to play cards and drink, pistad, and then play cards and shit, spades, whatever the fuck they were doing, And I think my mom seen that he was like laughing or making comments every time I used to say dad. So she finally got fed up and said, you know what, she told me that that's not my dad, and that's when I was kind of like tripping, like, okay, well, there's another fucking, reality check. Because first I thought you were my mom, but now you're my mom, obviously, but now he's not my dad. So from there on, I was like, kind of like thinking, okay, well, I was still young, I was still little, so it didn't really resonate with me till as I got older. I kind of seen like, oh, okay, well, that's the reason then, I was getting fucking bombed on and beat up, because they were probably having problems, and, she takes it out on me, for whatever reason, because he never told me nothing, he was, quiet, I was never, I could never say, oh, the bad stepdad, because, it wasn't, but, you just don't know, because she handled business. So, like he didn't have to say anything, but I knew I was part of the problem. And then as time went on, fuck, all that shit that you go through and that you see and that you don't have, you start fucking like veering towards, towards a different route, which my next door neighbors, that was like the pad, the pad where there was a lot of traffic, but meaning just fucking gangsters, homies getting out of prison, a lot of shit fucking on and cracking right there. So when I used to go outside and play as I was getting older, 10 years old, I used to fucking, curious, check them out, kick it right there and, just absorb, just check them out and see, all that movement. And I was like intrigued by that, I was like, oh shit, these fucking guys are fucking it, they're cool, they seem cool to me. So, and I remember one day this fucking bum, he was walking, he was like fucking homeless, fucking no shirt, fucking scary motherfucker. I was 10 and I was watering and my brother, we were playing with the water hose. And then he came because my pad in Baldwin Park, it was like an open street, like it was a busy street, it was on Ramona. And it was like an old pad, but it didn't have no fence or nothing. So he came in and he's like, hey, I want water, give me some water. And then my brother ran in the pad and my mom just closed the door. And as I was going to go in there and they left me outside and she knew I was outside, and this guy, he's walking towards me. He's like, hey, turn the fucking hose on, I want water. I still remember. And then I seen the homeboy that later on ended up lacing me up. He hopped the fucking fence, and that shit was like, fuck, I can never fucking forget. He fucking just hopped off the to my side. And he fucking shut the water. You ain't getting no water. Get the fuck out of here, And from that day on, it was kind of like, fuck, man. Like he just took me under his wing. He fucking he seen like something in me. It might have been just because he didn't have no kids, but it must have been like I don't know, something that he seen about me. Where like, oh man, I could fucking lace him up or school this guy, since he always seen me like kind of like lonely, out there like doing nothing. And he kind of like he noticed me watching them all the time, so. That day right there, it was fucking crazy. It kind of fucking, I was like pumped up and proud. Like, yeah, like he went and backed me up, after they had shut the door on me and he went and fucking closed it. And that motherfucker got scared, because these are big motherfuckers, high socks, fucking cut off shorts, old school fucking gangster, fucking just hopped the fence over and it kind of, he set the tone, So I was like, oh shit, I want to be like that, So after that, as I got older, then, just started getting into more trouble at school, hanging around with the wrong crowd and, coming home. Then, like I said, once I knew more or less like the people that I was hanging around with were kind of tied into that house and they knew who they were and who they, what they were doing. I started kicking it with them, little by little, and then he, obviously he was my neighbor, so I was there. And, man, he put me up on game on a lot of shit. At 11 years old, I was already fucking being groomed and laced up. It might have been a hidden agenda there, like you said, like I told you earlier, that, there's always something behind, behind somebody's fucking, what they have planned for you, And back then it might have been, fuck, man, get this guy to fucking, lace him up good so he could handle some of my business or whatever, you know, because I used to help him fucking bag, weigh the fucking ounces, shit like that, fucking package shit up, you know, at 11 years old. So I was kind of like, that shit pumped me up, you know, and I was, you know, I was excited, you know, I was like, fuck yeah, like he took this like a dad to me, you know, so, you know, it was badass because you feel different when somebody gives you that love or that attention and, you know, to have you right there like like a son, you know, pretty much like a son, you know, like you felt like, oh fuck, this guy does care about me, you know, and like I said, from there on, it was just me going in and out, you know, from that pad to my pad, but my pad was never really like my mom was always working. They were all hardworking people, so they didn't really have that attention either to give to us, you know, like, hey, you know what, let's go out or let's go do this or go on trips. Like we used to go back from vacation and I had nothing to say because we didn't do nothing, you know. People, I went to Yosemite, I went here, I went there, and my stories were always like, fuck, well, what did you do? Nothing, you know, just fucking another summer, you know, and everybody's sporting new clothes and shit like that. So you seen all that, you know, and I always wanted things, I always asked for things, but it was always no, you know, the answer was no, we don't have the money. And, you know, when I wanted to join sports or play any sports or any, I remember one year I asked, oh, I want to be in karate. You know, my friends at school, they're in karate. And she was like, I don't got money for that, you know. We don't have money for none of that, you know. We don't do that. And, you know, it was always just a letdown. So, like I said, all that shit that I went through, it's just kind of like, well, I was bored, you know. I didn't have nothing to do. So I just kept going back to the, you know, the spot, you know, to the homies, to the homies. And once I got older, it was just even, I was being more aggressive, more like just running amok now. You know, now I wasn't coming home. Now I was, you know, I was being more of a headache to my mom, you know, so she was like, oh, fuck, you know, this guy's getting out of control. Now, as I got older, she kind of stopped fucking me up, you know, like I remember before she used to get the extension cords because she wasn't hitting me with her hand no more. And she used to get the extension cord and fucking, boom, fucking whack me with it, you know, and I just stay there, you know, and take it. But then I do the same shit, you know, all over again. Like, you know, I'm used to that, you know. And yeah, once I got in trouble, she pretty much, you know, I was in probation because she called the cops. So I had a lot of just bad, you know, a lot of bad experience going with the law, you know. So they put me on probation, but she just couldn't control me. So she was like, man, you know, could you put this guy away, you know, like I was just giving them problems because she already had problems already, you know, relationship problems and probably, like I said, that, you know, living with other people and just being so, you know, a family, you know, when there's more women, more men, it's just, you know, it's a lot of just animosity, a lot of, you know, people talking shit about each other. They don't get along, this and that. It's just all bad, you know, so.